So welcome back. Now today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your Script Supervisor binder for your next job. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, now you're probably asking yourself, well, I use a software program, so I don't really use a three-ring binder. Well, let me tell you, in your backpack or your rolling bag, whatever you have with you on set, you should always have a condensed version of that binder with the script and also the same tabs that you would have on your other binder with extra forms, because you never know when something might happen to your iPad or your computer. It may go on the blank. Somebody might toss it over, and something might happen to it. You always want to have a hard copy of those forms so that you can very quickly transition over to those forms. I know it happened to me once, and it won't happen again, where I forgot my iPad at home. I was, in a rush. I was putting my stuff, and I thought, oh, and in my mind I was thinking, don't forget your iPad. I was putting my stuff away. I got to the set, and it was a big, we were at a hotel, and there was, a lot of stuff going on, and I thought to myself, okay, and I go to reach in my bag, and my iPad is gone. And I thought, oh my God. So of course, call my husband up. I said, you have to leave work right now and pick up my iPad and bring it to me to the set, because I can't leave. So it's a good thing I had my binder, because I just immediately went to my binder and started working off of the hard copies. And then when I got my iPad on set, I was able to move all that information into my iPad. But you don't want to be caught on set without having some way of taking notes. Okay, so it's really important. Okay, so here we are on my desk, and I'm going to show you a case that I really like. It has a nice little handle. It's called Case. It's from Case-It, and it has this nice little pouch where you can actually put your clipboard. You can just set it in there like that, and it has a case so that you can keep it all together, and then you can just slip it out whenever, when you're ready to open your script. The other thing I like about this case is that it has a zipper. So whichever one you get, you want to get one with a zipper, because when you're running around and holding your script, you don't want things falling out, and you also don't want things going in either, because when you're working on, out in the field where there's dust and dirt and all that stuff, you want to keep your script clean. So that's the nice thing about having a zipper. It keeps everything in there. Okay, so let's take a look inside. Now, on my script, you always want to get one that has pouches on the side so that you can put your pens or markers. I always put my colored markers here in case I need to, mark the script up for whatever reason. And also, I always have post-it notes, these little not dividers, but little tabs. You want to use these for when you start the day. You want to be able to put tabs on all the scenes that you're going to be doing that day, so that you don't have to be rifling through your script to find the scenes that you're going to be working with. So you always tab them before you start. Okay, and then of course you've got some post-its, and then a Sharpie. You never know when you're going to have a Sharpie or need a Sharpie, I should say. And then the other thing that we want to have is a pouch. Now, I put two here as examples. You don't have to put two. You could just put one, or don't put any at all. Just keep them inside your packet, your rolling bag or backpack, whatever else you use. I just putting it out here so you can see what it looks like. Sometimes it's too bulky, for your script. So, but the things that you want to have, just make sure that when you do get these pouches, they're see-through, because you want to be able to see exactly what what you have. You want to have and we'll go over equipment later. I'm just going to talk about the binder right now. Okay. So those are your pouches. The next thing I want to talk about is your ruler. Okay, the ruler that you use should be a clear ruler, so that when you are making your script lines, you can be able to see through the dialogue. Okay, now before, I used to always put a string attached to it, so to my 3-ring binder, so that I wouldn't lose it, because well, it's always falling out, or I was always misplacing it or leaving it somewhere. But I found that having one of these badge holders is actually very convenient, because it retracts, okay, and it moves out to where you need it to be, and then you always have your ruler there, and it's always attached to your script. So that's always kind of a nice little handy thing to have. So now let's go over your tabs. The tabs that you're going to have are, the first one, of course, is going to be your script. And the thing about tabs is you also want them to be plastic, okay, or some kind of hard plastic, or just something that is easy to see, either see through, and it's going to be durable, because you want to be able to reuse these. You don't want to have to buy. I was always buying new tabs every time I had a new script, but it's nice to have one that basically is just a hard copy, so that you can reuse it. So if your first tab is going to be your script, your second tab is going to be your log, your editor's script log. The third one is going to be your script supervisor's daily report, and my report is probably going to look different than yours. Everybody has their own report, and we'll go over reports in another video, but right now I just want to show you the basic setup. So you have your report, and then you're going to have your facing page, which is, of course, you're going to put your holes on this side, so that when you do take a page out to put in your script, obviously they are going to be on the opposite page. Oops. They're going to be on the opposite page. So there is your workstation when you're working on your script. Okay. So there's your facing page, and the next tab is going to be your continuity breakdown. Okay, so you want that handy as well. And then I have, my next one is going to be my timeline. So last job I worked on was This Is Us. And it was one thing that I always wanted to have on hand, so that if somebody was asking me a question about something that happened, last season, and I can actually see it very easily. And we went over this in another video, so if you want to take a look at that, you can check that one out too. The next tab is going to be your production tab, okay, and this is where you want to put your crew list and any other pertinent production tab or pages that you actually want on hand. In my case, because I was working on episodic, I was using the season 6 post-production chart, which is what director was working on that episode. And then the one thing that you always want to have, and for me, is especially if you're working on a studio, have a map of the studio, because many times, like on our show, we were working on several different stages, and sometimes they were swing stages, and even though you've been on that studio many times, sometimes you kind of forget, and when you're in a rush to get to the set right away, you don't want to be looking for where it is. So always have a copy of the map of the stages that you're going to be working on. The other thing that you want to have, and in our case was very important, was the U.S. time zones, okay, because our show, part of the characters lived in California and others lived, on the East Coast. You want to know what the time difference is, so that if they're talking on the phone to each other, okay, well, if it's 2 p.m. here in California, well, over here in South Carolina it's 5 p.m. So you want to make sure that those, so when you're shooting those scenes, they're on point. The other thing I always have is just a copy of the U.S. map, just geography wise. Sometimes you never know when you might want to know where a certain state is, or how the distance between one city to the other, for continuity purposes. Okay. And then the last one is going to be blank, and this is just in case you want to talk to the director about screen direction, or talk about camera positions, or whatever. You just want to have a blank page so that you can jot down some really quick notes, just in case. And then the last thing on the back I always have a hole puncher. Okay, and this is something that always comes in handy. So if they're giving you new revisions, and sometimes they're just hot off the press, and they didn't print them on 3-hole punches, you have a 3-hole punch that you can put them in your script binder. Okay. So that's it. And so I hope I've answered your questions on how to set up your binder. If you have any questions on, what I've covered today, please leave them in the notes below, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. Or if there was a certain situation that you had that you weren't sure how to handle because you didn't have the right setup on your book, let me know, and see what I can do to help you out. Okay, so until our next video, like I said, the next one I'm going to be sharing with you is going to be on the specific forms that you're going to need when you're script supervising. Okay, all right, we'll talk to you soon.